everyone, and welcome back to day 4 of Vlogtober. I am Angie, Indie Dyer, and General Mess. Today's Sunday. Is it Sunday? Yes, it's Sunday. I just kind of wanted to show you some socks that I'm working on or want to cast on for, Socktober. It's still raining, so I am sitting outside, so apologies if the noise is kind of loud, but it's so dark inside that you probably wouldn't have really gotten a good idea of what any of this looks like. So I am sitting outside. So I wanted to show you some of my favorite needles that I use for socks. So I almost always use Magic Loop. That is it's just my jam. I know that some people use 2 sets of circulars, which I've also done, where basically you have one circular that goes through one side and one circular goes through the other side, so you're not really having to pull cords around, and I've done that, and that's fine, but I feel like there's too much wobbly stuff wobbling around, there's too much to keep track of. And also you end up buying, because I tend to do socks 2 at a time, so then you're thinking, well, you need 4 identical circular needles. I tend to try to use identical needles because my personal tension, this is not necessarily true for everyone, my personal tension can vary wildly depending on the length of the cord, the material of the needle tip, and obviously your mileage may vary. That's not true for everyone. It is true for me though. So my personal favorites are, come on, focus. My personal favorites is using a long circular Haya Sharp. Let me see if I can get it to focus a little bit better. There we go. So these are my personal favorite. I really like Haya Sharps. I know some people don't like them. I have a hair stuck in my sock, which is not surprising. I know that some people don't like Haya Sharps because they're too sharp, but I like them because it's easier to get into stitches and stuff. They're just what I personally prefer. So as you can see, I have this sock, which I've been working on kind of on and off for a little while, on some Haya Sharps. This is Votes for Women self-striping sock yarn from Strawberry Fields Yarns, which I bought at Unravel in February, which was my last social outing. It was the last time that I actually went out and saw people and went out to dinner and did any kind of non-food shopping in person. So it's a bit weird to think about that. But anyway, so this is from Strawberry Fields Yarn. It's self-striping, so I'm only doing 1 sock at a time, which is not usual for me. Normally I do socks 2 at a time because I get second sock syndrome pretty bad, to be honest. So that's what I'm working on here. And I really like this self-striping yarn because it's really easy for me to be I'm just going to do 1 more stripe, 1 more stripe, 1 more stripe. And then I've done, a few more stripes. So that's been really fun, and I really like these. These might end up being for my lovely wife, Sarah. She's decided that she does really like hand-knitted socks after stealing some of mine. Shock. I know long-time listeners will be shocked that she has nicked some knitwear. She is a serial thief of winter hats, although she swears she's not going to this year, but we're going to see what happens when I actually start making a hat in the next couple of weeks as the temperature gets dropping. My hands are already a little bit cold out here, but I like being cold, so I'm okay with that. Obviously that's not true for everybody. Anyway, so those are my favorites. Haya Sharps are my favorites. I do have another pair of these, but I can't find them. I thought that I was doing well with making sure everything went back into the needle folder, but clearly I have failed because I can't find them. It might be that they're on a different pair of socks that I forgot that I've cast on, and they're living in the bottom of a project bag somewhere. It's entirely possible, knowing me, actually. So those are my favorites. My second favorites for sock knitting are probably Knit Pro Zings. I really like Knit Pro Zings. I like them because they're, focus, zip. There we go. I really like Knit Pro Zings because they're quite sharp. They're not as sharp as Haya Sharps, but they're still pretty, there's still a pretty good tip on them. I like them because they're not super expensive, so if I do, lose one or whatever, I'm not devastated about it. The Hayas are a little bit more expensive, so I'm more annoyed if I lose those. The cord length is pretty decent, and while these can bend a little for me, I know I have one in here somewhere. One of these is warped. Or maybe it was a different set. There's one of them that is quite warped because this is like hollow aluminum, but that doesn't bother me so much, to be honest. I don't like using wood needles because I've snapped too many of them, especially the Knit Pro needles, especially the smaller gauges. I have some, like, I don't know, 10 or 12 millimeter Knit Pro Symphonies, and those are fine, but those are like chonky needles. The skinnier ones, the Symphonies, like, they snapped way too many times for me. I stopped buying them. But the Zings I think are pretty decent. I have been tempted to buy one of the Chiaogu sock knitting sets. It's in like a little pouch, like this big, little red pouch, but they're for short circulars, and I just can't really get on board with short circulars. I've really tried. I've tried to get on board. Sorry, my hands are cold. I've really tried to get on board with the short circulars, and it's probably because I knit all of my socks toe up. It's just how I prefer. I don't really like doing cuff down. I've tried, I get bored. And like, I think it's because I struggle to do toe up on the short circulars. I'm not saying it's impossible. There's some people that definitely do it, but for me personally, like, I can't do it. I get really frustrated with it, so it's just not my jam. So as much as I really like that teeny, cute little pouch, like, I can't really justify spending whatever it is, 80, 90 pounds on something I'm probably not going to use that much, because I don't tend to knit socks on short circulars. It's just not, it just doesn't work for me. Obviously the reason that there's so many different kinds of needles is that everybody's different. Everyone likes different stuff. I used to really like bamboo needles when I was a new knitter, but I can't stand bamboo now. Because when I was a new knitter, I'd have problems with stitches flying off the needles, you know? Whereas I don't really have that problem anymore because I'm more experienced, I'm more used to, you know, the action of knitting, and so now I find the grippiness of bamboo to be really irritating. So I think I'm going to cast on 2 pairs of socks this month. I'm not going to finish them this month. I want to tell you that for free right now. I have way too much other stuff that I'm working on, that I'm dedicating quite a lot of time on. I'm writing a story, an almost novel-length story, so it's like technically going to be a novella, but it's a longer novella, I guess. So I've been spending a lot of time working on that because I really want to release it on December 1st because it's kind of a festive holiday story. So I know for sure I'm not going to finish these this month, and I'm okay with that. Like, I'm trying to come to terms with, like, being okay with not casting on and finishing stuff right away. So, obviously you've seen these. These have been cast on. These have been cast on for a while. I've been working on these probably since March. I don't exactly remember when I cast them on, sometime around there. So, like, obviously I've not done loads, right? This is kind of just like a project that kind of chills, and when I'm bored and sick of other things, I work on this. But I have been working a lot on a crochet blanket lately, so the socks haven't really gotten a lot of attention. So this yarn is, as you can see, it's an extra long skein, so I am gonna have to wind this up, not with my normal ball winder, but then I don't really use my ball winder that much anymore because it's noisy and sticky, because I need to get a nicer, better one, but the one that I want is one of the ones that sits on the table, and I really like that one, but I don't have a table that it can clamp to right now, because I have like this weird like lip on the side of all the tables in my apartment, annoyingly, that prevents that like clamp thing from working. Anyway, so this is what I am wanting to cast on, one of the things. So this is the Starfire. So like if you watch Teen Titans, or if you watched Teen Titans, I think there's like a newer reboot, but I watched the older one. Starfire is one of the characters. This is from Third Vault Yarns, of course. I bought this like ages ago and like low-key forgot that I bought it. Like you can see the dye lot here is it's from 2019. I'm sorry for my hands looking gross. This is kind of just what happens when you're an indie dyer. They're always like messing around with acid water and stuff. So yeah, as you can see, the dye lot's from 2019. This is her companion soul striping. It's 75/25 merino, and I think, like, I know that, like, obviously the color is Starfire, and that's why I bought it, because I love Starfire and I really liked Teen Titans when I was younger. But honestly, I feel like it's a little bit kind of autumnal, so I was thinking it might be fun to cast these on and knit some rows and whatever. It means I will have to find some more needles. I don't think I have 4 pairs of, although if it's self-striping, and maybe I'll just do it one at a time. We'll see. So I think I'm going to cast those on. I still have to wind up the yarn, obviously. Maybe I'll do that later tonight. And then I'm also gonna make one of the sock blanks that I knitted, that I tied the other day. Words. So this one still doesn't have a name. I saw a couple of suggestions in that video where I was dyeing it Monster Mash, Graveyard Smash, which I might go with. Those are pretty fun. So I was saying the other day I was sort of waffling back and forth because the other one was a bit more speckled, which is like a bit more of my typical jam. But I thought, you know, it might be fun to do something that's a bit outside the norm for me. So I think I'm going to do this one, which was a bit less, obviously there are still some speckles, but it was a bit less speckly and a bit more like, I said I wasn't going to say fakiant anymore, but I'm sorry, fakiant. So anyway, so I think I am going to start this. I am going to knit them toe up two at a time as I unravel, because I'm a lazy knitter. That's a confession. I'm a lazy knitter and I'm too lazy to wind these into balls first, so I tend to just pull out the sock blank as I go, which doesn't work for a lot of people, and a lot of people are like, why are you putting yourself through this? Because the like 30 minutes it would take for me to wind it into separate balls is obviously too much for me. I'd rather struggle through it the entire time. So I probably will knit this up, toe up two at a time. As you can see, this is the start end. That's where the little, that little red thing means that's where it starts. So the toes and sort of like, I imagine I'll get through toes and probably heels or part of the heel before it'll move into the next phase. And I know from doing the emo rainbow socks, which I still can't find, sorry, I think that they're in a bag somewhere that we took to a show as a sample, and I can't figure out which bag it was, because when we pack up to go home from yarn shows, we tend to just like throw everything in a bag and let's go. But I know from that those socks are, they're not like tall, but they're a little bit taller than I would probably usually knit to get into the last color, but that's okay, I don't mind that. But I am going to keep that in mind when I'm deciding on sizing and stuff. So I think I am going to cast these on, actually. Pretty excited about that. And if you're wondering what tea I am drinking out of my fabulous Skulls of My Enemies mug, I am drinking, it's called Moondrop Dreams. It's from Bird and Blend. They're a tea company. And I'm drinking Moondrop Dreams. I'm having trouble speaking today. Because I don't know, I feel like a bit wound up today. I don't know why that is, but... So I decided I would have something calming and chill, and I've just realized my plant over there is in desperate need of some water. So I'm going to cut this off, and I'm going to go and post this and water my plant before it decides that it hates me forever. Catch you later, everyone. Hopefully the next time I talk to you, I will have something cast on. I don't know, I can't guarantee that. We'll see.